Good morning, everybody. My name is Dr. Felice Cellini, and I'm blessed and grateful to be in recovery. Welcome to our Sunday morning Why Wait for Recovery community meeting.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Haiti, and I am so blessed and grateful to be in recovery. We get together every single Sunday. I'm a compulsive overeater, I'm a binge eater, I'm a purger. I am a food addict who had bariatric surgery 2 years ago. I'm also a drug addict in recovery.
I'm a drug addict, alcoholic, anorexic in recovery. Welcome, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning. So we had something really interesting happen yesterday that
We
did. Well, I did that I wanted to discuss with you. So this is the holiday season, and it's all parties and gifts and that kind of stuff. So I go to a business networking party, and we do a gift exchange. And it's quite amazing because all the gifts are between $25 and $35, and it becomes very competitive, and you can actually steal each other's gifts.
Oh, I played that game before.
Right,
It's
it's
a lot of fun. Yeah.
Okay, so the funny thing is we're all very successful in business, and anyone can go out and buy the gift that they really want, and people are really getting very upset. It's very funny how it works. And for me, it's the same thing in terms of the food. So we're getting something for free, and all of us want it because it's free. It's that competitive thing. So they have all the food laid out in the buffet, and the big thing is to eat as much as possible because you're at the holiday party and it's free food. So there's like this compulsion that people go to these parties and they have to overdo it. So I see people overeating and over drinking and really having beyond a good time. For me as a food addict, it's a different kind of perspective because I'm really uncomfortable in my skin if I let myself get into my head and into my feelings and my thoughts. And before, I used to be able to shift it by drinking or smoking or do something else to feel different so I could feel like I was fitting in. So it's interesting stepping in from the point of recovery, looking at this and actually being able to connect with people on a different level without feeling like I have to live up to a certain expectation that I create in my mind of a way that I should be behaving.
So I think that that's awesome. So actually what we're talking about is ego and acceptance. Right? So accepting the fact that people around us are going to do whatever they're going to do, and it's really not our business, right? And that we have a choice to be resentful or not resentful, which I'm going to tell you in the beginning of my recovery, I wouldn't go to places where people were drinking and getting loaded because it was too difficult for me because I was very resentful of me because I'm an addict and I'm not like everybody else. And then also ego because, I'm going to do what everybody else is doing and I'm going to worry about what your opinion of me is because at the moment I have no real good opinion of myself. And so to learn to let go of those things, which are some of the things that we're learning about in recovery, right?
Right, and also it brings up something really interesting. We all come here, we get together, we got a program that works for us. We two friends in recovery discussing what works for us. And this is a program that we've developed for us, that really people are getting really successful doing and trying and interacting with us. We all come at different stages. I'm over a year clean after different relapses, and that's part of my story. But the thing is, some people are just starting out. So I'm at that time in that space where I can be around things that used to speak to me and really where I started that obsession and that compulsion, where I really sat in that resentment and I really sat in that space where it became all about that substance of all I can think about is that bread or that drink or that whatever it is, and why can't I have it? Now it's a different experience where I can actually go and connect with people and enjoy the moment. I learned so many amazing things last night about people that I've seen so often. The one guy builds doll houses. That's not a conversation I would have had before because I would have thought about circling around the food and circling around the alcohol and feeling really uncomfortable and cleaning up and all the other stuff. So I think the big thing as well is wherever you at in your recovery, if you are in recovery, if you're not in recovery, if you're just joining us because you don't know what the heck we're doing but it looked interesting and you think we're crazy, that's also okay. And also, if you want to jump into our conversation, we actually live stream on Facebook. We have people sitting out in our room in Davie that come join us in person, which is awesome. We live stream on YouTube. We have a virtual waitlist room, which you hop onto via our website, so whywait.net, and you can join in the conversation.
And so, for me, I had 7.5 years clean and I relapsed. So we all are in different places in our recovery, right? I have a little over 2.5 years now. The thing is that realizing where we are and understanding that the recovery doesn't just make us magically immune to our addiction, right? To that disease. Because that disease, when we talk about that dis-ease, depending on where we are spiritually, is going to depend on what we're doing physically. So I had 7.5 years clean and some really good years of recovery, but obviously on that 7.5 year, something happened. And so we also talk about being diligent and making sure, you guys, it's okay to have 7 years clean and to say, you know what, today my head's not in the right place to go hang out somewhere where other people are drinking. And that's okay too. And that's just me understanding that I do have a disease and that it does talk to me sometimes even when I don't want it to. And when I'm at that place, that I need to connect with the community and make sure that somebody is there to speak with me, or that I'm reaching out to speak with somebody else, so that I can get out of that headspace, so that I can enjoy my life and understand that the world around me is happening the way that the world around me is happening.
So what was also amazing, and I find this really interesting, is, you know, people look at this and this is what they see, which is what I project to the world.
People judge that.
Right, they judge
Right.
it, and I don't see any of this. For me, I've got a very distorted view of reality and what I look like. But you know, the interesting thing is, I'm very open. I've reached that stage where I'm very open about my bariatric surgery and that I had it done. And you know, people are going, "Why do you only eat this much? Are you living on air?" And I go, "No, I spent a lot of money paying for a really small stomach." But you know, people, the minute I mention that, people start justifying. So I had one friend come up to me last night who started justifying why, you know, he doesn't eat badly. He's like 150 pounds overweight.
Do
Okay?
you drink badly?
No, he doesn't eat badly. He's not an addict, but he's considering the surgery. How was the surgery?
But he's
And
not
I
an
said,
addict.
He's not an addict.
No.
So I said, you know what? The surgery is a very interesting thing. Because firstly, it's major surgery. It's not just something that you go in and 15 minutes later you fixed and cured. Okay, you go into general anesthetic. It's a major surgery. Some people do have complications. Some people never recover from it. So not only that, you know, some people get greater chances of esophageal cancer at the end of it because of the reflux. You know, there's a lot of stuff that come out of it that we don't really look at when we're an addict. And I know for myself how it's changed my life and the things that I now have challenges with because of the surgery. But you know, we think of it as a quick fix. We think we'll go in, we'll fix the problem, we'll come out of it really, really happy, and when we're thin, we're going to be happy and everything's going to be magical, and we're going to be fighting unicorns and blossoms and butterflies. Rainbows, and it doesn't happen.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. So we know that there's a whole lot of difference between bariatric surgery and recovery, because one's got nothing to do with the other. So you could sit in a treatment center for 6 months, not learn anything, go out and drink on your way home, right? And so what happens is that with all of my patients that I see in my office that are post-bariatric surgery, what happens is, okay, you have this great surgery, and now you're sick for a little bit of a while, and you're doing what you're supposed to do because you're sick for a little bit of a while, and then you're not sick anymore, and now you're just sick, right? Now the dis-ease or the isms come in, and now you're like, shit, I just had this surgery, and my brain wants me to have 15 milkshakes right now, and I don't know what to do with that. And so you're depressed and scared and fearful and ashamed and demoralized, just like every alcoholic is when we wake up every morning using, and you haven't learned anything about recovery. So that's what I say about the surgery. You know, the surgery is amazing for a lot of people. Yes, there could be a lot of complications. I know a lot of people that have it. I have a whole lot of patients, you guys, that are post-bariatric surgery that come in after because they're diabetic again, 3 years after, 2 years after, they're diabetic again, and they absolutely have no idea as to why they've gained back 150 pounds. And so the problem's not the food, and the problem's not the alcohol, the problem's me. The problem's you. It's what's happening inside of us that's allowing us to repeat behavior that we know is harmful, and we do it again. Why am I doing that? Right? Again, we talk about, I wake up in the morning, I put my hand on the fire. Oh shit, I burned my hand. I don't wake up tomorrow morning and put my hand back on the fire, right? Unless I'm an idiot. And alcoholics and drug addicts and food addicts, it's not that we're idiots, it's that we have no idea of what's going on inside of us that's allowing us to choose, because in the end, it's a choice to use or not to use. So we're gonna go around And who wants to share this morning?
So, can we just also discuss
No, we
something?
can't.
Because I want to bring up two things. One is, I want to bring up two things. One is, we had a workshop yesterday, so some of the people joining
Awesome
us
workshop.
were
Thank
in the
you, guys.
workshop. And also, so we don't need to discuss what we're discussing. It's also the holiday season, and for a lot of people, it's a really emotional time. And this is a really difficult time for so many of us, and that's why we do these meetings. So let's do.
So we are going to go around. And I'm going to tell you that yesterday in workshop we talked about, even though I'm not supposed to talk about what we talked about, but I was at workshop yesterday, and we talked about saying we're sorry to ourselves and to the people around us and what that means and what that looks like. And I want to thank everybody who was there. It was a lot of hard work done yesterday. And I'm really proud and really grateful for everybody that was there. And I always say it to you guys, but thank you for being a part of my recovery, man. You make it easier for me to get through my day as an addict in recovery. So thank you so much. Who wants to share first?
No pressure.
I'm gonna pick on somebody. Good morning, Chris. Good morning. Unmute yourself, hon. Is she muted? She did unmute. Oh, okay. We can't hear you. So we're gonna get back to you. Karen, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm very scattered this morning,
Okay,
which
fair
is
enough.
why I need to focus right on you guys, because if I try to do anything else at all, I miss the movie, as you say.
Yes, I do say that.
So I'm good. I've just got lots of irons in the fire, and so wonderful workshop. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
My pleasure.
Lots of learnings and some growth, and just really privileged to be a part of that.
And I'm not going to talk about it, but I gave you some pretty difficult assignments yesterday, and you're going to get those done, right? You have a week to get those done?
I am going to get those done.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
ma'am.
Good girl. It's going to be amazing for your recovery. So
I
good
know.
job, you. And thank
Yeah.
you so much. Thanks. Liz?
Thank you.
Liz?
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have much for this morning. Everything's good. Great workshop yesterday. Let's see, we had Friendsgiving last night with my friends.
So awesome.
And yeah, there was lots of food, and I used a lot of the tips that we discussed during the last holiday binge workshop.
Awesome.
You know, I took a big pot of chili that I could have, and which was great because that was the only thing that I chose to have.
Smart.
And
Smart.
yeah. And then, you know, towards the end, everybody is, you know, eating desserts and everything. And I was just kind of walking around, picking up and, you know, straightening things up and everything. And it just kept my mind off of it. And it was good.
How'd you
Yeah.
feel inside? How are you feeling? You feeling okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
And how many days clean, love?
She's got 42.
41.
Awesome. That's fabulous.
You're awesome. Proud of you. Very
So
proud
I
of you.
have a question for you. At this stage, how much do you value your recovery?
It's priceless. I can't put, I don't even have the words right now to express how much it means to me.
So for anyone out there who's considering this, what would you say to them? Like anyone who's really struggling at the moment and has been thinking, should they, shouldn't they, you know, abstinence is like, seems like such a hard thing to do. What would you say?
Oh, just do it.
So,
I don't know.
so Liz, you texted me last night.
Yes.
And we've talked, and so you've been, you know, when we talk about abstinence, right, we have to get abstinence so that we could get some recovery, correct?
Right.
Because we can't
Yes.
use and get recovery at the same time. So as far as the abstinent parts at first 7 days, that we have to just do, right? We got to bite the bullet and just stop using. And then
Right.
after that, it's about your recovery. So how many times have you lost and gained weight in the past?
7 times.
Okay, 7 times, and we're talking about bunches of weight, right?
Yep.
And so we're talking about the difference right now seems to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the difference right now, your gratitude, right? Your acceptance, your change in perspective, that has to do with your recovery, not with your abstinence, right? We're abstinent so that we can get in recovery. We stay in recovery and work on our recovery so that, and as a side effect, we get to stay abstinent.
Right.
Correct? It's not the abstinent parts that makes us happy, although it's so important to be abstinent because we can't be abstinent in recovery. But it's the recovery part that lets us wake up and get some happy.
Right.
Right. And so that's going to be the takeaway, you guys. It's the recovery. Stop eating the stuff that you're not supposed to eat. That's going to work for a minute or an hour or 6 months because it does work. Right? We all stopped. We just couldn't stay stopped.
Right, and for some of us that come in that are alcoholics or drug addicts or gamblers or cigarette smokers
Or
or
all those
addicted
things.
to these little things, but we are addicts at the bottom of it, at the heart of everything, we are addicts. And we sit there and we're judging, well, do you know what, I can always start a diet on Monday, or the food's not as bad as my alcoholism, and it's not as bad as my drug addiction, and it's not as bad as my gambling, and it's not as bad. And we sit there in judgment, and we're not putting ourselves in an identification kind of mode where we're looking at it as the same thing and treating it in the same way and viewing it as just as deadly and just as serious. We're still using at the end of the day. So we're still picking up. It's just changing. Our drug of choice starts changing.
Which you
But
know
the thinking
firsthand
is the same.
You know
Right, I know
firsthand
this
You
because I've
stopped-
done it a million
Right,
times. I mean,
right.
I've swapped things out.
Right. You stopped, you were abstinent with your food for a year, and then you relapsed on pot.
Well, I've done different things. So I was clean from pot for 7 years or 8 years or whatever it was. I mean, who can remember? I was clean from cigarettes for 12. I mean, like all these different things, and I pick up stuff again. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. The issue at the end of the day is this little thing I carry around with me. So no matter where I am in the world, or no matter which place I'm sitting with, or who I'm sitting with, or what I'm doing, I'm still sitting with me.
Yeah, right? And so again, we're not going to talk about the abstinence part of it. The abstinence is necessary, but we're going to talk about the recovery part of it and how the recovery changes us and allows us to see the world differently and allows us to be happy.
And the recovery part of it is for us, some of us need to learn how to do it. I was an addict.
We all need to learn how to do it.
Right, and I was an addict for so many years with the same thinking that kept bringing me back to that same point in space where I kept hurting myself and I kept abusing myself and I kept doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results and thinking that my thinking was okay. I needed to shift that and learn something new. So as Liz mentioned, getting the tools and doing the work and getting the different resources and learning a different way of life, essentially, learning how to live life as it shows up, as me, as Haiti, but equipped with tools and techniques and community and stuff to be able to deal with it, to stay in recovery, because recovery is amazing.
Yeah, and it's the only way that we're going to not only live happily, but the only way in the long run that we're going to live. So that's kind of an important part. Cammie, do you mind if I pick on you this morning? So I'm going to let you know, nobody out there, the only people that see you are the people in this room.
No problem.
Okay, all right. And so I'm going to talk with you because you are my patients. And so I see you for medical reasons. And we talk about, even with you, if it was just easy to change that diet, then that's something that you would have done, correct? Yeah, and you want to talk about that? Do you feel comfortable to talk about that? It's Cammie's first time here, you guys.
So welcome, firstly.
Thank you. Thank you. I don't seem to be, I don't have an issue with, I don't think, like the volume of food that I consume, but sometimes, I have a craving for potatoes, or I just really want salt, and I sometimes I can't help it. It just,
So you feel like, so let's change the way that we're talking. So sometimes I feel like I can't help it,
yeah.
right? So we're going to remember, they say in the rooms, feelings aren't facts.
Right.
So if I feel like smacking Ahmed in the head today because he pissed me off this morning, it's a feeling that I'm having, but I have a choice to walk up and smack him in the head.
Right.
That's my choice. And so every time we pick up, you guys, we want to remember that that is our choice. Right. Even though it feels like I have to have this, I have to have this, I have to have this. Because I'm going to tell you, I wake up sometimes in the morning and I feel like I really got to have some Percocet. Lots of them. Hands full of them. And then I have to make that choice. Right? As to, okay, and I need to make that choice to, I need to remember that I can play that out to the end. And what does it look like? For me, it looks like a treatment center in Tennessee. For you, it looks like a blood sugar 500.
Yeah.
right? And so we do have that choice. It's just getting the tools and the understanding about some recovery that's going to allow you to make better choices and ultimately be healthy, and ultimately not feeling horrible about the fact that shit, I did it again. Like I promised myself I wouldn't do it, and I did it again. And how could I do this? And how can I? And that the how can I's get answered with the recovery part, and the learning how not to gets answered with the recovery part. And being part of community where you could talk to other people that are going through what you're going through. Those are the tools that give me the choice to say I am having this feeling, but I don't have to follow through with it because I know what it looks like at the other side, right? And that's not where I want to be, no matter how bad I want to use right now, right? And so that's my hope for you. So stick around. I'm super glad that you're here. Thank you for coming here this morning. Brave of you.
And I'm so pleased that you brought that up because it's really a very pertinent issue that a lot of people face. I was chatting to someone last night and he was telling me how hard he works, and he works like 6 days a week, and it's really a tough week, and then on Sundays he plans to finish a bottle of wine, and he has, at the end of the day, he has this bottle of wine, and he plans all this football and food fiesta for himself that he has on Sundays. And I'm thinking, well, after my crazy hard day, I used to justify, and I miss having my joint every single day or having my cigarettes as things got tough. And you know, the thing for a lot of us is we create these thoughts and this chaos around us because it becomes easier to create reasons why we should be using. And that's part of our disease. You know, we forget that our disease speaks to us in our own voice because we taught, for me, I taught myself that was my coping tool.
And you guys, we need to remember when we're in active addiction, we reward ourselves by hurting ourselves. Think about that. Wow, you did a great job. Imagine your kid comes home. You got an A on your test. Let me hit you in the head with a baseball bat. That's how we reward ourselves. So we want to think about what that reward looks like too. And is that 10 seconds worth of feeling great because I just ate a potato worth the next month's worth of sick and disease, right? And again, for some of us, you know, the next 2, 4, 6 months in a treatment center in some state that, you know, you don't know where you are. So that's never good. Thank you so much, Cammie. Thanks for being here. Anybody want to share? Share? Okay. Chris, can you see if we can hear you right now? She's kicking me. Yeah, a little bit. Can you make your sound louder? Let me see if I can make my sound louder to hear you.
I think you're good. Say something.
Say something now, hon. Kinda. So, okay, share. Good to see you.
Okay, so for the past few minutes, I've been kind of out of meeting, you know, I was doing it, just kind of Googling something.
I can't hear. Yeah, and I'm getting too much feedback. No.
Can you take off your headphones?
Can you take off your headphones? Disconnect it?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
Much better.
Okay, I think maybe that was the problem. So, well, first of all, so for the last 2 minutes, I've been kind of in the meeting, but not because I was trying to figure out what I'm saying to my mic. But, so what I keep getting,